Hello and a very warm welcome to the 58th World Angling Championships here at the fantastic Ostellato Canal in Italy. Two of Europe's premier match fishing websites, Champions Team from Germany and matchangler.com from England, have joined forces to bring you coverage of this fantastic event. And it's been quite a week in world fishing terms. This has seen one of these world fishing games where every discipline in the sport has its own world championships. From fly fishing, sea fishing, carp fishing, feeder fishing, ladies, intermediates, juniors, cadets and handicapped. We've seen world angling championships and world angling champions crowned all week long. And today it's the turn of the men. This is the men's senior event, and to kick off proceedings, here's Dave Johnson with an interview with England manager Mark Downs.
Good afternoon. We're on the banks of the Canal Ostellato in northern Italy, getting plenty of sunshine, about 32 degrees, and I've got with me joint England manager Mark Downs, who's going to give us some idea of his first impressions of the venue when he arrived. When did you arrive? On Sunday, Mark?
Yeah, we arrived on Sunday. The rest of the lads had already had 4 or 5 days on the venue, but a couple of kilometres away from the match length. And first impressions they gave us, it was a tremendous fishery, obviously. In the 4 days off the match length, they caught bags of up to 60 and 70 pound, 95% skimmers. And first couple of days on the venue were fantastic. First day in a 4-hour session we had 63 kilo between us, and yesterday we had 94 kilo between us. So that was fantastic. We've come down to earth a bit today after day 3. 3 good results and 3 not so good results, so it's a little bit of extra thought needs to go on, I think.
And the sort of the main species you've been targeting?
Just skimmers.
On the canal, it's just skimmers.
Just skimmers. The carp are too big and they're too risky. We hooked a dozen carp yesterday. After the event we had to go for carp. We hooked 12, 14 carp and we got 3 out. And the smallest one we got out was 17 pounds. So they're just too big for match fish. And there's many catfish in here. We caught 10 or 12 catfish yesterday. Silura, and they're not allowed. Because they go up to 70 and 80 kilo in here.
Really?
And there's ways of catching them with leeches and things like that. They are legal, so they didn't want teams doing that.
They didn't really want
no,
teams,
so in the interest of the sport, they've taken those out. But yesterday we had probably 10 Silura from 1 kilo to 3 kilo, which is a shame really, because they'd have been nice bonus fish.
Yeah, you mentioned skimmers. Are we talking actual skimmers?
All sizes, all sizes.
But are we going to bream? Are we going
they're really from 100 grams up to 3 kilo, up to 3 pound, which is 1.5 kilos.
Right.
Yesterday one Frenchman caught 200 fish for 7.5 kilo. That was Stefan Paulette. Anyway, Potelet, and he loves doing that. But three other Frenchmen caught 12 or 13 kilo bigger fish. We've been targeting the bigger skimmers of 300 grams plus, which is 12 ounces plus, and we've had some good weights, but we've hit a bit of a brick wall on day 3, so we've got to go back and give it a bit more thought.
Right, so we've got Thursday to come,
and Friday.
And what are the boxes looking like for Thursday?
Not good. We're moving down the match length. We've got box 29 on Friday, which is generally as you go down the match length it gets less prolific. We're back up to box 12 tomorrow. Box 9, yes, today's been quite good. So it's a reasonable area, I think, tomorrow. And then I think we'll have a tough day on the last day on box 29. But it's not about what you catch; it's what you catch with regard to people around you in your section. So there'll be 19 anglers, or sorry, 18 anglers per section, 2 sections per zone. And hopefully all those 18 pegs in every zone will be relatively even.
Yeah, and the bream and the skimmers and bream that you're catching, these are at the full distance, 13 metres.
Full 13, yeah.
And, you know, with obviously maggots and bloodworm.
It's 90% bloodworm fishing.
90% bloodworm fishing.
Yeah, it's a risk putting too many maggots in, because you might bring carp into your peg, you might bring catfish into your peg. You bring those into your peg and you can destroy your skimmer fishing.
Yeah.
You hook a carp, you lose a carp, you lose half hours fishing.
Yeah.
You want to really avoid bringing them in.
Do you think though, with these carp though, I mean they're talking about taking the catfish out of contention, but do you think there are going to be some teams who are going to look and say, oh well, no catfish here, maybe we shall try for one of the
but I think you possibly.
Isn't that the same principle?
Yeah, you will get that. You might get 1 or 2 teams that target carp, but in my opinion I don't think you can do any damage with it. You've got to catch 2 carp each to do any damage in a section. And if you get 1 out, you're very lucky, because they're big fish. We hooked them up to 30 pound yesterday, and with no chance. They're wild, big, common carp.
they can, I mean, a little bit like Merida, I suppose, but bigger.
Oh, huge fish. We've seen some cruising on the top here that are 40, 50 pound.
Really? So you'll have all the blokes from England coming out now targeting the...
Well, it is carp fished on a regular basis all down here. So,
I mean, the danger, of course, with these carp is if there are teams who start fishing for them within a section, they could have an adverse effect on a team who's really going for skimmers and start to push them,
I don't think so.
down.
I don't think so. I think once you've targeted your target weight at 7 kilo, 8 kilo, somebody's got to catch 2 carp or land 2 carp to beat you.
So that's
there will be an odd carp per section, or in 36 pegs, that will make a point or 2 points difference, but I think they're too big to target.
Okay.
Might be wrong, but that's what I think at the moment.
So, I mean, really, what the assessment seems to be at the moment is maybe 7-8 kilos is a good team target weight.
Section to section. If you draw section A, the top 18 peg zone, I think you've got to catch 15 kilo.
Really?
And then the second section, you've probably got to catch 12 kilo. This section down here, you might have to catch 10. And you get down to the bottom section. In each section, the first 18 pegs, I would imagine 6 or 7 kilo would be a good weight there.
Yeah. And is this a continuous stretch? Is it? Oh, I noticed there was a gap. There's one or two gaps in the match length. There's a 100-yard gap further up here where there's a bit of a zoo behind us, and then there's about a 500-yard gap further down. So. Okay, so really it's all to play for at the moment. Of course, you can see William there doing his act for everybody. Cheers, Will. Okay, Mark, thanks.
All I'll say about William, you can tell he's won the section today. He wouldn't be like that if he hadn't won the section.
Oh, I see, that's why he's won the section, has he? Okay, thanks very much, Mark, and we'll speak to you later. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
And good luck to everybody.
Okay.
This was Tuesday's weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Not too much pepper on Stevie's tomatoes. Monday's weight. It's the revised Wednesday card.
Who eat?
These meats. Good afternoon. We're now joined by Will Raison of Team Drennan Team England, and I gather, Will, you had quite a good introduction to the canal when you came down for a pre-practice session last week. Certainly on the Friday you had...
Yeah, I mean, we all caught loads of fish. I mean, one day Des caught over £100. Sean did on the Friday. I probably had 80 to 90 pound, but the match length's proven to be a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
As we thought, we never thought for 1 minute we'd be fishing for those sort of weights.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not quite like the stuff you're used to in England. This canal is quite massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big water. It's a big water.
Water.
There's a lot of fish in here, but it's ever so patchy. There seems to be areas where there's a few fish and areas where there's not. So we've got our work cut out in the next couple of days to come up with a plan that's going to give us a...
But do you think this will, I mean, undoubtedly there'll be some improvement as bait goes in and fish starts to...
Yeah, but it is the third day already.
Yeah, really.
And there's anglers along the length struggling, so and we know in our team that we're all fishing pretty much the same. Yeah. So it just goes to show how up and down the pegs are.
But you've had a good day yourself today.
Yeah, I've had a nice day today. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Just started and caught a few fish straight away, some decent fish, and you can settle down. But the pegs that are going to win you this World Championships are the harder pegs, where where you manage to winkle out a few fish where it's difficult.
Yeah, a little bit like Poland, I suppose, isn't it?
I hope not.
It certainly doesn't look like it's going to be anything like Poland, and the Italians look as though they've put you on a really good venue.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking over there, and it looks like there might be carp activity right across
there's a lot of big fish. When we first had a look at the match, and this pipe that's in the next box up, there must have been 1,000 carp on top. All massive fish, but we hooked a few yesterday. Des hooked 8 or 9 after the session yesterday, but either they've shut up shop or this isn't as good an area for them.
Well, hopefully, the fishing will continue to improve, because obviously it's a big difference from Poland, and the Italians certainly look, that I can see at the moment, as they've come up with a really good venue for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the fishing, Dave. It's the banks and the access, and that. Everything's very good.
It looks very good. So, well, hopefully everything will continue to improve, and England, of course, we'll be looking to England to...
well, let's hope so.
Yeah, to come up. So anyway, Will, good luck,
Cheers, mate.
Good luck for tomorrow and Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On now. Okay, we've just stopped close to the Dutch contingent, and just to show that they are not just capable of catching breams, skimmers, roach. We have a carp. Not terribly big as the canal goes, but a carp nevertheless. I think there was a bigger one caught to my right, but unfortunately he'd landed it before I got here. Yeah. Coming down here now.
Epic.
We have a carp coming up behind us, which we are going to show now. We're going to put it in front. Dieter is going to put it in front of me. Come on, Dieter. I was just going to weigh it. I'm quickly going to turn around. Oh no, we're getting this one here first. There we go. It's coming in. Okay, hang on, Dieter. Can you come round, Dieter? There we go. Don't land him yet. There he goes. Look at this one. Now, is that a fish or is that a fish? Okay, lovely, Dieter. We go back round.
6 kilo.
How many? 6 kilo. 6 kilo. Okay. You can now land. Dieter, get out of the shot. I think that carp came from Merida. Yes?
I don't know.
He does not like that net, does he?
Hello.
See if he jumps out again. Oh, we've got him. Well done. There we go. Nice, very nice fish. Wild. Seven kilos?
Huh? 764. 764. Isn't that nice one, Dave?
There are no skimmers in South Africa, but these lads look pretty handy when it comes to a bit of bream bashing, judging from this.
What's that in kilos?
716.
716. There you go.
Stuart Conroy has been one of the most consistent international anglers of the last decade. As a quiet stalwart of the England team, I remember Stuart fishing in Paris in 2000, and he's been one of the most consistent section performers on the international stage we've had. And you can tell from what Stuart's doing here, he's got a good fish on, and it gives you some idea just the fine lines and elastics he's using on these fish. This will be a bream. Again, keeping the pole low. This was a feature of this World Champs, how all the anglers playing these big fish tried to keep the pole as low as they could and get the bream surfacing not too far out from the bank. The Stuart's taking his time, he's lifting up the fish. Because these bigger bream are making all the difference. These are the fish that made the difference in the overall team results. Plenty of teams caught plenty of fish, but not every team caught the bigger fish. Now you see how close to the bank Stu's netted that. Now you can see it's a proper bream. There's one delighted Englishman.
There you go, there we go. That's what England will be hoping to take again.
It's going to be difficult this year if that's a video link.
It is.
It's going to be difficult.
Very difficult. If the Italians have anything to do with it. Lovely. It's a little windy here, a little bit like Poland, but not as bad as Poland. Certainly not fishing as bad as Poland, correct? We hope not. I'm joined on my left by Ferruccio Gabba and Jacopo Falsini, who everybody knows as being two of the top Italians. Not that all the Italian team are top anglers. I'll ask Gabba first, Ferruccio, sorry.
No problem.
Ferruccio first, about this venue, because it looks rather special. Looks a very good venue.
Yeah. This is one of the most important venue in Italy, and many competitions are normally being there. And we know this venue. Normally is a very, very good venue because there are a lot of fish in this canal.
Yeah, a lot of and the main fish are bream and skimmers.
Yes, the main fish are bream from 100 grams to 500 grams.
500 grams.
Yes.
But there are bigger ones as well.
Yes.
As we just saw your manager catch, but we didn't get it on camera. And so the Italian, I mean, you have to be favourites here. You have to be. It is your home water. You will be looking for revenge from Desque.
Yeah.
Yes. You will be. Yes. Correct. Is that correct, Jacopo?
No,
you want to win here very badly, don't you?
We would like to try to win everywhere, but it's not so easy
but
now.
especially here.
Yeah, especially here. Yes.
So, Ferruccio, you yourself today, how have you got on today? What sort of fish weight have you caught today?
I don't take the weight, but maybe from 15 to 20 kilos. Yes. But the best weight from our team, maybe Balabeni, and the last peg, maybe 30 kilos. Yes.
30 kilos.
Yes.
That's not a bad weight. Jacopo, I've just mentioned about this canal. We have nothing like it in England. It is absolutely massive. It is big. It is quite deep, and it is stuffed with fish. I mean, if we can just look around at the venue and just sort of see how big it is, when my cameraman will pan. Yeah, okay. And just have an idea of just how big this venue is.
Yes. This venue is 15 kilometers. 15. The venue is 15. The canal is 50 kilometers.
Yeah, 50 kilometers.
Yes.
And it is about 18, 19 meters wide.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Here, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And deep, it is
between 1.5 to 3 meters, the maximum deep.
Yeah. Okay. Right, we're just coming back, having had a look at this canal. It is something quite spectacular and something not many people are used to. I suppose the question I should ask both of you is how do you really feel as though you are going to do really well I mean, this is your own venue, it is what you are used to doing.
Yes, but we never have an important competition like the World Championship. You know that after 1 week of feeding, every venue can be changed, and so we are not we are looking around to understand day by day if the canal it will be regular or if something's change.
Okay. Well, I suppose, as you say, the feeding will make a big difference with all the bait going in. But I'll put you on the spot, both of you. Your predictions for a podium, team-wise. Who would you say your podium predictions are?
Questa è la previsione del podio.
Yes. Do not be bashful. What is bashful in Italian?
I don't know.
Bashful. embarrassed.
Ha detto dice non essere imbarazzato.
Yeah.
No.
Be honest.
I think this venue is very regular. So I think that the most important team will be on the podium. So I think England, Italy, and I think Belgium, maybe French, and
Maybe French.
yes, maybe, and also Hungary.
And Hungary.
Yes.
Jacopo, would you agree with that, or would you like to slip somebody else in there?
Yes, I agree with Ferruccio, but nobody knows because the fishing is the fishing, and and you know, in Poland nobody think to be on the podium Spanish team, and they have a nice competition, and they was second there, so. We have, yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that's a pretty honest answer. I think that's probably what most people would suspect would be the podium. In what order remains to be seen, but obviously it's Italy first, England second, and then any team afterwards. Yes, that will do Italy now, yes?
Yeah,
that's good, that will be good.
Every year you always make the same.
But, I know, I do. I'm sorry, Jacopo, I can't, but it's great. It's lovely to see you, and I really hope you are on the podium.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Ferruccio, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Cheers.
And there's a bit of Flemish tactics being discussed there. Here's a quick look at some of the Belgian rigs. Belgium, a fancy team this weekend. There's a few of the Belgian rigs. Maybe a bit more Flemish for you to enjoy.
Okay, we're at the World Senior Championship.
I take the t-shirt.
Oh yes. Guido, would you like to explain how your rigs are set up?
Yes, today it's calm, there's no stream, and I fished with my hook just on the bottom. Normally we fish with the last lead on the bottom, but here it's not necessary, there's no stream. Then I fish just on the bottom with the bloodworms. I fish only bloodworms. I try maggots, but the last hour it's maybe possible to take a big fish, but I don't do it.
Your dropper shot, I noticed the main bulk is only about
40 centimeters.
40 centimeters.
Yes.
And the dropper shot, can we see the dropper shot on your t-shirt?
2 leads from 10. 2 leads from 10. It must go quick to the bottom. It's not quick to the bottom, you take a lot of small fish.
Yes.
We don't like the small fish, we take the bream.
Yes. But you will not be fishing very much line on the bottom?
No, normally yes for the bream, but here it's not necessary. I fish with the hook just on the bottom.
Okay. And the floats the floats you are using?
1 gram with a long antenna.
Very long antenna.
Yes. You put it out of the water and it's easy. Goes easy down. And the bream is there, and they saw it. He see that the bloodworms go down. He take the bloodworms.
Yep. And the bloodworms you're putting on the hook, you're doing multiple bloodworm hook baits, 2, 3 bunches of 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Yeah.
5 bloodworms. Yes.
Yeah. Are the hooks you are using? Are they
16?
Size 16.
Yes.
Any
wide gape.
Wide gape 16s.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And are these the main rigs, or I believe there is a lot of carp here?
Yes.
There is a lot of carp. What's do you have a carp rig set up as well?
I have one line for the carp. Maybe it's for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's maybe possible to take a carp, but in the beginning of the week there were a lot of carps, but now not so much. Not so much.
Okay, fine. Well, Guido, thank you very much for just running through your rigs. One question I did want to ask is there is not a lot of wind today. If we look on the water, we can see there's very little wind. If the wind gets up, how does that affect how much line you put on the bottom or how much weight you add?
Then I fish 15 centimeters on the bottom.
Yeah.
When the wind comes from the right side, I fish 2 meters to right.
Right.
Come the wind from left, I fish 2 meters left from my ground bait.
Right.
That's stream, but understream.
Undertow.
Yes.
Undertow. Yes. Understand. Yes. Understand.
Yes.
And do you extend the length from your float to your tip? Do you keep a long amount of line?
It's better you hold it still.
To hold
when
it still.
It's too short. It's not possible to hold the float still. It's not possible. I fish always with a long.
Okay, that's about how long?
60-70 centimeters.
That's good. Okay, Guido, thank you very much indeed. I'm sure everybody will be most interested in what you had to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Mark Downs, it's the end of the final day's practice. Your thoughts and impressions?
Yeah, it's been a good week. We've done quite well. We've caught 292 kilo, an average of 10.4 per man per day, although today's not been very good. So looking at it, you're going to have to catch a fair few fish in most sections to do reasonably well. And it's going to be difficult because we haven't got an edge on any teams this year. There's no secrets in this venue. You decide whether you're going to target big fish or small fish, and sometimes you can't catch small fish, and sometimes there's no big fish in your peg. So really it's a difficult one, very difficult. Sections A and B should be okay, they should be the best fishing sections, but the most unfair. Whereas you come down on this particular section E, low numbers, it's probably the fairest section where 6 kilo will get you good points. So there's a lot of discussions to go on yet. We've got to do a lot of talking this evening, go through it section by section and try and figure out the best plan for each section, really. You can't approach it en bloc with all sections.
Yeah, what you're saying is really the individual anglers will probably have to tailor.
No, there'll be a plan. There'll be a plan,
but they'll tailor it to.
There'll be a plan per section, and that plan will change as you come down the match length. Certain teams have done well all week, but when you look at the areas they've drawn each week, it's not been bad areas, consistent. We've had some good weights, and because the sections have been good. We've had some bad weights because the sections have been bad. Italy are favourites, no two ways about that. They've done well again today, but they've not fished the middle section because of the pegging tirage. They've avoided that section, which has been difficult. So
yeah, we've noticed they've had 3 good draws, 3 good boxes the last.
They've been dead fair, to be honest, because there's 36 teams and the one section's only really 5 boxes. 7 boxes of 5 anglers. They've actually opted not to practice that middle section, which has been good sportsmanship. That to give all the other visiting teams a chance to fish at that section. Bottom line is they know the venue, they fish it regularly, and it'll take a good performance to beat the Italians.
Yeah, okay. It's not impossible, is it?
No, it's not impossible. No, we've beat them a fair few times. We beat them with spin and Desque.
That's right.
But we had a massive trick under our sleeve, up our sleeves there, and we haven't got one this time. No. So although I'm not pessimistic, I'm confident we can get a medal. With a few good draws on day one and a good performance, and I think we can get gold. But it's going to be very, very tricky this year.
Just one final note, Mark, because I know you have to run off to a captain's meeting. Have we sorted the team out for tomorrow?
Yeah, we've got 6 anglers and 5 will fish, and we'll decide later.
Oh, you're going to decide later on this evening? Yeah, I know you've got 6 anglers.
Yeah, the team's picked. We bought 6 with us, so all members of the team, and we'll probably get a chance to perform this weekend. And we'll have a chat later.
Will you still be applying the lowest weight on day one?
It's not a rule. It's not a rule.
It's something you have applied in the past.
No, we've applied it because everybody works hard, and to be honest, there's been nothing to split any of the anglers. Will's had a good week. No way. He's caught 57 kilo this week. You know, he's averaged like virtually 12 kilo a match, where the others have averaged 10. So fair play to Will. He's been like star performer this week, done brilliant. And there's nothing between the rest.
Right.
And picking the first 5 for the first day is impossible. You could put them all in a hat and draw them; they'll all do equally as well.
Yeah,
so we'll see how we go.
Okay, lovely. Okay, Mark. Well, the best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much, Dave.
And we'll speak later. Thanks. Cheers, Mark. Well, that was the England joint manager, Mark Downs. Not quite upbeat, but not quite downbeat. He's quite right. It's been quite an unusual day today. There's gone have been the 20 kilo weights, and it's been back down to earth. But to be fair, England are in an area where really 5-6 kilos was a good measure, which would be section E tomorrow. They are sitting near a bend, which in particular will not be very good. Thomas Walter has mentioned that. So I think the draw to some extent will play some sort of part tomorrow. The Italians are undoubted favourites. They've obviously decided what they're going to do and have kept it undercover. So one can expect a very good performance from them tomorrow. It will be a major surprise and upset if they don't produce an outstanding result.
Thanks, Dave. Team selection. Some teams, like the French, announce their reserve well in advance, and that man knows he's going to be the reserve on day one. Other teams like to spend the week practice and announce their reserve on the morning of the match. Well, over to Jason now with some news from the Team England camp.
First of all, Steve, thanks very much for taking a minute to talk to us. I know it's going to be a big day. First of all, you mentioned skimmers, bream. I think automatically of Steve Gardner. Why are you not getting ready in the box at the moment?
Well, it's been a tough week. It's some of the lads, a couple of lads have shone really well, and then sort of 3 or 4 of us have been very equal, and it was sort of up and down whether you got in or not. And obviously, decisions up by the manager, and they decided to rest me for today. Hopefully, I might get a go tomorrow.
Okay, who will you be supporting today?
Supporting?
I mean, supporting England, of course. Who will you be running the bank for today?
I don't know yet. I'm waiting here now for the 2 marks to turn up with the walkie-talkies, and then they'll make the decision. Probably either Des or Will, I would imagine.
Okay, I think they're hoping that you're coming to join them in a minute. What's the team? How's the draw been today for the team?
We've got one very good draw because we've got an M box, peg 36 in B, and it's got a lot of empty water below him, so you know that will be a big advantage. The rest of the draws are sort of middle really of the sections, nothing great, nothing bad. To be honest with you, the way this place is fished this week, you can catch 2 kilo off a peg one day, 3 kilo, and the next day someone could sit on there and catch 15. It's a bit unpredictable. It makes it very difficult to decide how to approach every peg the same, because you can't sort of distinguish between a good area and a bad area. It's changing every day.
So very peggy, you would say?
Very unpredictable, I would say, rather than peggy. Yes, probably a little bit peggy, but you don't know when you draw if you're on a very good peg unless you're near to the end.
Okay. Same rules apply for tomorrow if anyone less than a 6 or a 7 for England, is it?
I don't know. They just said that oh, here comes Mark now, actually. They just said that I'd be fishing Sunday, but obviously if you get 5 section winners, you're not going to. No. Mark!
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Then, like to see you fishing tomorrow, but let's hope you're not. If everyone gets
it's one of them, isn't it? Yeah, you know, it's a okay. Catch-22 for me. In one way, I'd like to fish, and another way, I'd like to see the team do well, obviously. So, yeah, we'll sit waiting.
All the best. Thanks for taking a minute to talk to us.
Yeah, no
enjoy the day.
Sorry for the distraction.
No problem. Thanks, Steve.
Well, thanks very much to Steve Gardner. It just shows the strength and depth of this current England squad that an angler of the calibre of Steve Gardner is your reserve. Not many countries are as lucky as that. Now we're going to watch Will as he gets ready for his 10 minutes pre-baiting period. He's getting the balls ready. Now this 10-minute pre-baiting period is a new rule this year. It came in with the extension of the match to a 4-hour match, and it's seen a big shift in strategies and tactics. As we're waiting for the start of the ground bait period. And here go the big balls. There's one. Well, you can see the counter for yourselves. 2, 3. Now you'll notice these balls are being fed well short of the pole tip. This was a strategy adopted by most of the top teams. They fed the main balls by hand short of the pole tip, and then you're going to see the cup used in the way I've not seen it used in the World Championships up till now. With 10 minutes to pre-bait, we're going to see the cup being used more and more for this sort of on-the-money feeding. He's well short of the pole tip there with these big balls. And I think the full 13-metre line, as we'll see in a minute hopefully, Will's going to feed it just with the cup. Let's see what he does. You also notice Will's feeding quite a large area with these initial balls. He's not dropping them right on the pole tip. He's creating a bit of a bed. And these will be for skimmers. Skimmers don't like feeding off a tight dustbin. They want it spread around a bit. So it looked to me like a small fish line. Now comes the more serious business of cupping in. As I said before, cupping is something we're going to see more and more of in these World Champs as time progresses, because in a 10-minute period you can now get a lot of bait out in the cup and you can get that bait right on the spot. Unlike those balls we'll put in at the start, small skimmers spread around a bit, these are money balls. These will have, some of them will be feed rich, some feed poor. The last 3 or 4 probably will be your money balls with lots of feed in them. And one thing we noticed this year through the practice sessions was just how heavy some of these balls are. Watch Will's pull as he ships these balls out, look. You see the care is making sure that the poles ship together. These are big balls. And the Italians were using the famous pongo, a mixture of soils and, well, we think they've been using pongo all week. I don't know if it's the name that adds the mystery or the fact that none of us know what's in these Italian buckets, but everyone's doing something similar. They're using heavy soils, grey lean, they're making heavy balls that are going to stick around for a while. The tactic seems to have been to feed, some of them with not very much feeding them, and then, as I say, these rich balls, the money balls, the balls that are going to draw the fish right onto a certain spot right at the end. Well, let's see if Will does that. Let's see if he changes the basin he's feeding from. At the moment it's all coming from the same pot. But with a 10-minute pre-baiting period, you do have the time to sit and put 10, 12, 13, 16, 18 cupfuls of feed out. Whereas before this was impossible. We never saw this sort of feeding. Yeah, still from the same pot. Now what I've noticed here is that Will hasn't done what sometimes they do, which is ship the whole pole back to use the cup. They're putting the cupping kit on, I think possibly for security, given the weight of these balls. These balls are heavy. You can tell the way these poles are flexing, that they're taking time and care to ship them out. There we go. This is number 7. Now, of course, the rule is that after this 10-minute baiting period, you cannot use your 2 hands to squeeze a ball. There's Will using his 2 hands to make that ball firm and compact. And these are fairly big balls as well. After the first 10-minute period, you might wonder why people didn't cup out so much in a 5-minute ground baiting period. Well, they'd have got into the match, and they'd had to use only 1 hand and a single squeeze to make the balls up. This is why, for the first time ever, I think we're seeing this change in tactics. More cupping in, less balling in. And I suspect as time goes on we're going to see more of this. Here we go, look at the strain on that pole, that section bending over, look. These are heavy, heavy balls. God, Will's struggling there to get that one in. There we go, this is ball number 9. Oh! As if to prove a point. Well, heavy balls indeed. It looks like this is number 6 section he's broken there. Now, what would you do? Day 1 of a World Champs, you break one of your big sections, you got this feed to cup in, you know how important it is to get the balls out there. How long would it take you to get composed and get back into action? Well, it doesn't take Will long. There we are, another section out the bag. Another 2-handed ball from that bucket. And we're back in action now. Either that's the end of the bucket, or Will's backed off the size of these balls a bit, because that one ain't bending the pole as much as the previous ones, not by any means. And we're on to another bucket of feed. Notice that they're all covered. This is above the heat and humidity, I think, to stop evaporation and bait damage. Now he's going to cup in on a short line, look. This is obviously a tactic they've worked out in practice, this feline approach. Let's say 3 lines. He's put the big balls, the main balls in short of this pole tip. He's fed the pole tip, now he's feeding the margins. So then you're wondering where the third line came from. But it's the time, 10 minutes, I'm sitting here talking over this, and it's quite long. It seems quite relaxed, this 10-minute period. The first time I've seen it in the World Champs. As I said to you, I think we're going to see more and more cupping in and less bowling in as years go on. Different venues respond different ways, but you've got to remember, these fish have been hammered with a week's practice. They've had ground bait chucked at them from every nation in the world for 6 days non-stop now. And this is where the cup, as the week goes on, these venues change, and this is where cupping in will, for the better team certainly understand this, will be the way to go in a venue that's seen an awful lot of ground bait. And there's another bucket there, probably with more feed-rich balls here. Well, is that a maggot box? Oh, it's a maggot box. He's feeding some maggot. Oh. Just having an old blow of the hooter there, possibly. Oh, speaking of the hooter. And we're off. Today we're focusing on sections D and E. Now, in the current World Championships rules, these large sections, 36 teams in each section, have been split into 2 subsections, meaning each section will have 2 section winners, both getting 1 point. And this has been a bit of a controversial change over the last few years. They tried 3 subsections, and that proved to be not popular, as there were too many sections with too many weak teams in it. But now with 2 subsections, it means we're looking at 2 section winners from each section. And here's a guy who might well win this section. This is Defendi from Italy on peg E13 in the same subsection as Will Raison. The Italians, of course, in home waters, highly tipped to pick up a medal, highly tipped to pick up a gold medal. But these are the guys to watch. Decent sized skimmer there for Stefano. Again, in skimmers, as in everything, size does matter. And here's a look at Will. Same section, subsection E. And here's Will with the fish on. Now watch this. Look. Will's probably caught more big fish, more big carp than any other angler fishing this year's World Championships. And yet, he's sitting here with this skimmer bream playing it ever so gingerly. Now, this is because lost fish proved to be a real problem, a headache during practice. And many of the teams adopted this approach of light elastics, obviously, fine lines for the skimmers, but playing them in ever so slowly because they worked out clearly that any lost fish was costing them more any time they gained bringing them in fast. And this pole low technique, get the fish in as close as you can before you lift it. I remember watching Milo Colombo years and years ago playing skimmer bream like this, the pole really, really low, sliding them in just like Will's doing there. There he is, obviously a better fish actually, but he's struggling to find it there with the net. We can't see, he hasn't got it yet. He's a lively looking critter. But you can see the care he's taking. I mean, these won't be enormous fish, but they'll be important fish. 400, 500 gram fish. There's all the fish splashing there. And that's it, Will's got his net under. This is Larsen from Denmark. Again, perhaps bringing the fish in higher than Will and Defendi, but still this technique, playing fish nice and slow. He'd also put the fish up to the surface further out in the top teams. There's a little point to watch. It looks quite a home under his umbrella there. And here's the master, Stefano Defendi. Under another nice fish. Now, I said before, the size of these skimmers, you might think that it's a bit of a moot point, but if you can catch 250 to 400 gram skimmers, whereas around you're catching 80 to 120 gram skimmers, it doesn't take a lot of working out as to who's going to be world champ at the end. This is a Spaniard, Matthew Dorsel, playing a decent fish from the looks of it. Yeah, nice fish for Spain. Was a nice fish too. And here's Günther Haller, the former European champion, striking on the skimmer. This is going to be one of these smaller ones. Look, these are the fish you don't want. We're going to bringing that in. And that's the difference. You know, if you can get those bigger skimmers, I keep saying it, but those who worked out in the feeding how to select them, select the bigger skimmers for the teams that seem to be, in practice, doing the best. Now we have a look at Drago Scatali Popper, I think I'll call him Popper for short, from Romania, netting a good fish. This is Günther Haller again, with a bit of top-up feeding German style. Ooh, there was two in that pot, look. Crafty devil. Big pots. Oh, a little sprinkling of maggots, just a little bit of seasoning on top of that. Bert Helson from Belgium. And here's Jonas Jablonski of Lithuania. Oh, there he is. With a better fish too, look. That's going with a couple of section points to him, I'm sure. Here's back to our chum Popper again. Now, this seems to be another decent fish. Yes, well done. This is the Russian Sergei Fedorov. The Russians have had a great record in recent years in European and World Championships. Here's a look at D section. We're still in the first hour of the match, so it's far too early to tell which teams are winning and losing. In fact, with these events it's very difficult now with 36 teams in a section to tell till possibly an hour after the event's finished. But this is a certain Mr. Alan Scotland. Look at that. Pole low, playing fish nice and steady. Now he's lost, oh he's lost that one, has he? Oh no, he's not, he's still got it. Ah, sorry Alan, I've cursed you, spoke too soon. Lost fish, as we're saying, was something that really was a struggle in practice, and all the teams were doing it. But Alan's not an angler to lose that many fish, is he? Well, 5 times world champion. But you can see the care, the pole low, nice and steady, pole very low, all the way in. And you watch this, when they break down, they're not lifting the pole sections either. They're keeping the pole low and they're bringing the fish in to the side, siding him, lifting him, and trying to bring him to the surface as close as they can to where they're going to net him. Because these skimmers, it takes one flip and they're off the hook, of course. That's a decent skimmer for Alan. Alan topping up, he's putting a bit of an assortment of stuff in that cup, I think. Trying the 2-ball trick. What's he put in there? Ooh, like a ball and some dead maggots. Here's one of my fellow countrymen, Brian Clark from Scotland. Again, Scotland an improving nation over recent years. Brian's getting his net onto a sensible sized fish there. And back to Alan. He's back in the stride again. Looks as comfortable as if he were fishing his own River Don on a Tuesday afternoon. You talk about pressure and how people become world champions. Well, this man knows how to handle the pressure. He takes it easy. He's fishing in a very controlled, relaxed manner, and he's catching well. Now you notice when that fish came up, I said before, as close as you can to the bank, as closest to where you're going to net him. That's where you want him to surface first. There's Mark Downs. I'm sure he's pretty pleased with this boy's progress right at the moment. Now here's Tamas Walter. Hungary have been, as we all know, a fantastic fishing nation which have emerged in the last decade. And one thing these Hungarians do is they come to win. They've got a very positive attitude to match fishing. And Taman as a team have come with a strong squad this year, and they are fancied on this venue. You don't have to tell an Hungarian how to catch skimmer bream and bigger bream. They know how to do it. It's in the blood. And another man who's got skimmer bream fishing in his blood, Gabba. Now, I say that with a certain air of irony, because until recently, skimmers and bream were not present in Italy at all. And yet the Ostellato Canal, we've now got a venue where they have learnt how to become great skimmer anglers. Look at the way he's topping up there. a few balls in the cup at the same time. And that goes. I mean, tells a fair bit of weight in that. But he's using a float, a bit of cork on the end of his cup just to straighten the pole out. And here's Frenchman Pierre-Louis Renaud with a better skimmer. Now, the French have been struggling throughout practice to target these better skimmers, but just maybe they got things right there. Remember, they're current European champions, but they won the European Championship with a very, very small fish. Allez.
It's just into the first hour of the first day, and we're joined by Jean Desque from France. Jean, what are your first impressions of this venue?
Oh, the venue is fantastic. The starting is very good. We see a lot of people is catching bream. Well, the size, I think, today is very important. I think big weight today is very, very good. I see the Italian is starting very, very well with big fish. The French is doing not too bad, but we need to expect a minimum 1.5 hours for understand what happened.
Okay, how do you fancy France's chances here? Where will they finish?
We hope to make a podium, but it's not so easy because our draw today is not the best. But maybe we have a good chance too. This type of fishing is existing in France, fishing for bream, and I hope we have a good chance to a good result.
Okay, is this the same team that was that won the Europeans this year?
It's just changing two men, but we have a good team of youngs, and I think we have a good chance.
Okay, thanks very much for the quick word, John. Enjoy the day today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's Will with another fish on the background. I mean, oh, yeah. Look at our Croatian chum there. I think it's great at the World Champs. It's a chance to see the best anglers in action, see the creme de la creme at fishing. But I just wonder whether really you should be watching the best in action if you're actually competing in the championships itself. Watch our Croatian friend here. Obviously a little Raison fan. And here's the man himself with another one. So Will seems to be doing quite well. It's very, very difficult in these matches to tell as they're going on who's winning, who's losing in each section. But we're looking at the size of the fish. There's the Fendi again. But I don't think this is a skimmer. Hang on a minute. If he keeps bringing it in at Supreme. Now in the canal there's some very big carp. Carp in excess of 10 kilos. And these carp, well, if you could get one in, they make all the difference. But of course, most people are fishing with skimmer rigs. So what can Stefano do? If this is a carp, I reckon he's got trouble coming. Yeah, that ain't no skimmer. Now we'd love to show you on camera somebody landing one of these big carp. Now, I have my doubts that it's going to be Stefano. So I think he's on a bream rig. Let's see. Oh, he's holding it all right. That carp's kiting off now. Maybe it's just realised it's, well, there we go. Yeah. It was always a long shot. Now here's a chap that seems a bit more kitted up for things. This is Jacopo Goodwin of South Africa, and he's got a carp on, but he seems to have on a slightly beefier tackle. Now this is another thing in a World Champs. You can get off your box, off your basket, sorry, and you can walk the full length of your box right up to the line to play a fish, which of course Jaco's doing. And then you see the puller bong, you see. So he's down on the top 3 or 4, and he's given this fish a bit of stick. So yeah, he's got a chance of getting this one in, I reckon. There he goes, tension the elastic a bit more. He is giving that a bit of welly, look. But these are big fish, you know. If these are 10 kilo plus carp, they're going to take a bit of getting out, even on a strong tackle. Now, Jaco's making full use of this rule. You can walk up and down his peg, but of course he's created a bit of an obstacle course for himself. He's got landing nets in the way, pole kits, etc. So I just wonder, but just maybe he's going to get this one out, look. There he goes again. It's keeping him fit if nothing else. Look at that. I'm not suggesting for a minute Jaco needs the exercise, but you know what I mean. Nice day for a walk. Now that carp's taken some of the elastic he's managed to claw back to that puller bung. Now it's not your standard way of playing a carp, this, it must be said. But Jaco comes from a land, a country full of carp, and these boys know how to catch a carp or two. But here he goes, look, here he goes. Right down to his box. Obstacle course time. Ooh. Good griff. He's a surprisingly agile South African, is our Jaco. There you can see he is giving that fish a bit of stick. Right. You can't see the fish, but you can see the pressure he's piling on that line. Let's just hope after all he gets it in. It'd be such a shame if he lost it. Oh, there he goes, pull up on again. He is trying to give this fish a bit of worry. I imagine frustration, boredom possibly. Maybe he just fancies a little sit down in his box. Whatever it is, he's giving that fish a bit of stick. Now, he's pointing the pole straight at the fish, look. He really is giving that fish. What's he trying to... Has it got stuck in it? Has it got stuck in it? Oh, no, he's dropping his kit. That's what it's done. God, Jaco. That's not what you want. Well, that's a shame. He had that fish on for a good while there, and he looked like a guy who could get out. He had the gear for it, and he was giving a bit of stick. What a shame, Jaco. This is Gunter Hollow striking a fish in E33. Apparently he's lost a couple of breams, his coach tells us. He's also caught a few. Now, I said before, lost bream during practice. Many teams were frustrated at the number of skimmers that just shed the hook. And Gunter's apparently lost a couple of decent ones today. Well, you know, little things like that, little details make all the difference. This isn't a bad skimmer, and looks like he's going to get this one in okay. Well, let's hope he does. There you go. Well done, Gunter. Question is, in a fish-full venue like this, for weights are going to be good. The odd lost fish makes all the difference. There's another angler with a good fish on, and he's got the net out. Could this be our first carp? It's Serbian Mirko Dragicevic, with what looks to be a proper lump on the end there. Now, I wonder if I'm actually going to see this fish. We haven't seen the other two carp that have been hooked. There we go. Up, up, no, down, down. He's got a fair bit of elastic out there. I don't think he's been caught in a carp rig. There's the fish flashing about the edges there. And I don't think it's, oh dear, poor Mirko. I don't think we're going to see this one either. So first to weigh in section E is none other than our friend Jaco. Remember, Jaco unfortunately lost that big carp, but looks like he's got a decent net of fish there. These South Africans do know how to catch a fish. Look at that, lovely net of fish. So what's Jaco going to weigh in? Yeah, a couple of bigger fish in there too, look. 10 kilos, 430 grams for Jaco. Then we pass over quickly to Johnny Billman from Finland. Just over 5 kilos and 6 points for his team. But all eyes on this man, Will Raison. Italy's been good to Will over the years. Will it be good to him again? Remember, 10 kilos plus from Jaco's the weight to beat. I don't know if he's got 20 pounds in that net. Don't know, Will. Digital scales, of course. Still don't stop fish splashing about and flapping. Yeah, 6 kilos 840 for Will. That was good enough for 5th in this section. And here's one of the danger men in this section, Stefano Defendi from Italy. Can Stefano beat 10 kilos? That's the question. Well, he's got a good net of fish there. Remember, we saw Stefano catching some quality skimmers through the day, but can he beat that 10 kilo mark? Well, he certainly looks like he's beaten Will. A well-deserved round of applause there. Yeah, well, what's he got? 9 kilos, 940 grams. That puts him 500 grams behind the South African. But there's still one more angler to weigh in. Dutchman Dieter Friederichs has been catching well all day. He's one of Jan van Schendel's squad, who have done well in recent years and have been doing well in practice here. What can Dieter do?
Yes, yeah.
Look at that. 12 kilos, 150 grams and a section win for Dieter. Well done. And here we are now in C section. And here in action is Jan Foltz from Germany. Young angler, World Championships debut. And he caught well. People had him 5th and 6th in the section with 57 fish. There's one of them. Unfortunately for Jan, disastrous trap and his keep net got caught in a snag, ripping it, and he ended up, unfortunately for such a young, promising angler, with one fish in it. And that's a tragedy. That shouldn't happen to anybody. He caught well, he caught 57 fish, and that's what he's got to show for it. What a shame. Here in C24, here's Finland's Sami Kanalainen. He took 37 fish and weighed in 5 kilos 420 grams for a third in this section. Here in action, Belgium's most famous and respected angler, Guido Nullens. You don't have to tell Guido how to catch a bream, he knows. Using the same tactic as all the other top anglers, bring them nice and steady. Swing at that one, lift them up. What's Guido put together? And what's interesting is the number of fish Guido caught. He caught more fish than anyone else in the section, 116 fish, and that weighed in at 5 kilos 500 grams. Would that be enough to win in the section? There's a bit of debate there, maybe the electronic skills are running out of battery, I'm not quite sure, but he's happy enough for that. Now he doubled the number of fish of anyone else in this section, going for those smaller skimmers obviously. And you know, 5 kilos 500, not a bad weight. But here's Italian maestro Umberto Balabini. Now he's caught half the number of fish that Guido's caught, but were they those bigger fish and would they weigh more? Now Balabini is one of the most respected anglers in Italy. Well, I suppose one of the elder statesmen of the Italian team. He's been around for a good few years, won the World Champs once himself. He won it in Paris actually. But a fantastic angler, plenty of experience, plenty of class. And people say he's been catching, well, better sized fish. Not that one, but most of them seem to be better sized fish from what reports have said. And here's the moment of truth. What a better weight you got in there. Oh yeah, you can see a few better fish in there, so he's caught less than Guido. So he's weighed in 7 kilos 980 grams, 2.5 kilos more than the Belgian, and another section win for Italy. And here's some action from earlier on in the day. This is Bernauskas Martinas of Lithuania with what looks like a big fish. Could it be our first carp of the day? There he is. And that's his coach, giving a bit of uplift and support perhaps. Or perhaps just plain simply getting in the way. You're never quite sure in these circumstances. I don't know what Bernauskas is thinking of at all. Perhaps he just wants him to get lost. There you go, he's still playing the fish. And in the meantime, Marcin Stanzik of Poland, he's got one on. He's got it up. He's got it in the net. And here we are again. Now, is it a carp? Well, nice good soaps it is, I'm sure. 10 kilos, you could probably go and have a sandwich after that. Of course, may even buy him one. Ooh. Well, what is it? Oh, right. It's a bream. Not a bad one at that. But yeah, not a bad fish though, Baranowskis. Not a bad fish. Maybe the coach isn't such a bad chap after all. Look, there he is. Oh, he's pleased with that. Look, well done. And here's an angler, Didier Delanois of France. Fantastic angler, lots of class, plenty of experience fishing in England with Alan Scotland. Would France's tactics do for them here what they've done at the European Championships? Well, Didier's 88 fish weighed in 6 kilos 330 grams, but got him only 11 points in this section. So small fish seem not to be the way to go there. Six kilos 330. And here's England's Sean Ashby on the watchfly of Mark Downs here. Now Sean ended up in definitely the worst end of this section, and he took 6 points for his team, but when you look at the people around about him, what they weighed in, Sean's performance was incredible. 9 kilos 280 grams for Sean, easily the best weight in his end of the section, yet only enough for 6th in this very good section. This is Hungary's Joseph Varga, C2. Did not bad, 10 kilos 400, 4th in the section. Good weight for Hungary. This is Czech Republic's Joseph Konopasek with a fantastic 12 kilos 970 grams. And here in action one of Jan's men, Bert Uiterhaar of the Netherlands. Now Bert have been catching good fish all day. Like that, that's a good skimmer. And many people had him in front in this section. And let's see what he's got. No, that's a weight of fish. Look at the quality of those fish too, look. Cracking bream. And the section winning, 13 kilos and 50 grams for Bert. Fantastic stuff. Jan will be pleased with you, son. So Dave Johnson from matchangler.com covered sections A and B for us. When we didn't have a budget like Sky TV, didn't stop DJ hitching a ride in the back of one of their electric buggies.
Oi! If I go off, I'm going to go tits up, you know that.
Here's Mike Lyle of the USA on his World Champs debut. Perhaps been a bit outclassed by his illustrious neighbour, we'll see how that is in a second, but at least he's catching and taking part. Next peg in this tough section is Desque, A22, 5 pegs away from Falsini. And Des seems to have started just as well as anybody else in the section. Here's Des, quietly, confidently taking a small skimmer. Yeah, not bad fish for Des, but his neighbour, Adriano, Dutchman, was keeping up pace with him. And here's Jacopo Falsini, one of Italy's top anglers, catching well. And he caught well throughout the day, catching good quality skimmers for a first day score of 12 kilos 230 grams. But that was enough for 3rd in the section. Good fish for Jacopo. Class angler, always a class angler. Great to watch. But Jacopo's 12 kilos 230 wasn't enough to get past Hungary's Szilard Magyar, one of the top anglers, been around for years, top Hungarian anglers, who took 13 kilos 460. And that wasn't enough to beat Joe Adriano of Holland. These Dutch guys were having a really good first day with 13 kilos 890 to win the section. And here's Stuart Conroy, English Mr. Consistent, fishing once again a solid match. 2 points in the section from B36, which included this superb Caraccio. Fantastic performance, Stuart. And here, needing a hand at the water, is Finny, one of Italy's top anglers, 20 kilos 130 grams. Wow, what a net of fish. Will the South Africans lost fish customs? Certainly not. And the anglers cooked up a good 2 points with their fishing chef Sean Rankin. And 4 points for Germany's Peter Schuller.
We're now joined by Dieter Friederichs from Holland. Dieter had a section win today. Tell me how your win went.
Yeah, today was a great day. The first 2 hours was terribly good.
Yeah.
I catch a lot of skimmers and a bream, and I catch 12.1 kilo, and it was enough for the second win. Okay. For the winning of the section here.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy section. We had Will Raison in the section, we had the Italian Defendi in the section, and they are sitting on the outside really, and you're in the middle here, so a good win. Tactics, did your tactics work, what you've been using in training?
Yeah, we have the whole week, it was terrible. It is not the same like fishing we use in Holland.
Yeah.
The fish here is not normally. It come with Welsh and carp on the pack,
yeah.
And but we find the tactic to catch the bream, but only leam. We feed with leam and only ground bite.
Okay. Section win, that's a 1 for Holland. Have you heard how the rest of the team have done?
Yeah, I think we have 3 section winner and 1 guy with 7, but the last guy I don't know. But
okay.
But I think we well done today.
Okay, we're hearing the Italians did very well, the Holland did well, England did okay, so we wish you all the luck.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
Tomorrow is another day, I hope.
Another day. We're coming to have a look at you tomorrow. Okay,
thank you,
thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you. End of day 1, I'm joined by Will Raison. Will, section 5th today?
Yeah, 5th today. Caught 4 catfish that I had to put back, but quite pleased with 5th.
Yeah.
Just a little bit annoyed that 1 or 2 of those catfish I managed to hook in close late on weren't decent sized bream. That would have pushed me right up the section, but 5th is okay, and more importantly I think we're up there as a team.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know more about how the rest of the team have done?
I think Alan's 1st or 2nd and Des is 5th, and I'm not sure. I think Stuart's won his. I'm not sure about Sean.
Okay. What was the tactic today? Did it work out how you planned it to go?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we've caught quite a few fish in the week, but you know, the tactics weren't hard and fast. You know, we haven't managed to work it out exactly, but I think we've learnt a fair bit today, so hopefully tomorrow will be even stronger.
Yeah, I hope so as well. As I said, it sounds like you did well, the Dutch have done well, the Italians have done well. Yeah, so it's still going to be a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But you know, there's a lot of fish here, so you know, if we get it right, you know, I think we can still win.
Okay, good luck for tomorrow, Will. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So at the end of day 1, let's have a quick look at how the teams stand. Italy lead with an amazing score of just 9 points, 3 section wins and 2 third positions. But look at the Netherlands, 4 section wins and a 7th in section. And just 5 points dividing the next 3 on the result sheet. It's all open for tomorrow. France won't be too happy at 14th position, and Germany's unfortunate problem with the ripped keep net puts them into 19th position instead of a possible 9th position. And the rest of the field with world champions from 2009 in 32nd position. And now the results for the individual champion title race. Of course, 10 section wins today, but order of the day decided on total weight caught. Jamie Masson of Scotland on top with a great net of 25 kilos 580 from peg A1. Jamie is also the only angler in the top 10 who escaped our cameras. Sorry Jamie, but we'll be keeping a special eye on you tomorrow. Here are the seconds and thirds in section, and of course all in a good position for a medal, depending on tomorrow's results.
Welcome to day 2, and here we join the bait inspectors on A18 as they check Germany's Klaus Müller allocation of bait. Bait limits are strictly controlled by the representative of FIPS. The amount of ground bait and lean permitted is 20 litres. This includes all particles such as sweet corn or hemp. Here we see the FIPS committee member Igor Chinyakov taking meticulous care over Klaus's ground bait quantity.
15, 14, 13. 13.
Okay. Not a problem.
Yeah.
4 and 4.
Let's try together.
Yes, not a problem.
Please
yes.
put it back.
All ground baits and leans must be fully wetted as no other water may be added after the bait control. Only water via a spray may be used to dampen down the ground bait or lean. Each inspector has his own particular way of doing this, some less fastidious than others.
13 and 4, it means 17.
Klaus has 13 litres of ground bait, 4 litres of soil and 4 litres of double lean. That's 21 litres. He's over by a litre, so has to throw that away. He then receives a warning from Igor. Bad boy Klaus. Nothing, it seems, is escaping Igor's attention. Next under Igor's watchful inspection is England's Stu Conroy. I'm not sure why Igor is studying Stu's ground bait. You don't have to strain your eyes to see that Steward is nowhere near the allowed limit.
I see 10 litres here. That's all. Thank you.
From the 2.5 litres of bait allowed, a maximum of 1 litre is allocated for just bloodworm and joker.
Thank you, good luck. Thank you very much.
That went well, Stu. Good boy. Judges also make spot checks on anglers' pole lengths to see that the 13 metre maximum length is strictly adhered to. Something we're not really used to in England. Here we have Andre Finney, who won his section yesterday. After bait inspections, anglers may prepare their baits and ground baits for the session. But when your country is leading the competition and you have 1 or 2 tricks up your sleeve, some find it best to keep them from the countless prying eyes and lenses that roam the area. Assuming that you have brought an ample supply of umbrellas, of course. Having accomplished the necessary secret bits under cover of darkness, Andrea discards his cloak and dagger equipment. He can now proceed to form the many cannonballs his feeding strategy demands. When balling in, it's useful to have some kind of visual marker. This little chap belongs to Germany's Klaus Müller. Bless him. We're now going to stay with Andrea while he best makes use of the 10-minute pre-baiting session. All the Italian team seem to offload as many cannonballs onto the 13-metre line as possible, and it seemed to not place as much emphasis fishing short like other teams such as England did. You can see that Andrea was not shy with the size of his balls. Whoops! A ball crashes on top of his tip section. Let's hope there's no permanent damage. Andrea's certainly giving it some. 20 balls, that's a lot of feed, and we believe most of those contain little or no bloodworm or joker included. Possibly a few, there may have possibly been a few dead maggots in there, but I think you'll find most of the bloodworm and joker was put in at the cupping stage. As with many teams, the introduction of bloodworm and joker seemed to have been made via the cupping in process, as Dave Ewing explained in his first day's commentary. You'll notice that as Andrea begins his first cupping run, he stops and brings the cupping section back in order to powder his hands with some white dusting powder. This will give his hands less friction as he slides the pole out and in. It was noticeable that not only the Italian team, but also the Dutch, Hungarians and probably the Belgians used the cupping in period after balling in to great effect. This is something that the continental teams have seemingly cottoned onto quite well since they changed the rulings from 3 to 4 hours and from 5 minutes to 10 minutes pre-baiting. Again, as we've seen with other Italians, the cupping balls are very heavy with obviously soil. What type of permutation of soil, whether it's terre de somme, terre de rivière, we're not sure. And of course it raises the question regarding this pongo aspect, where the balls are formed very, very hard for a very slow breakdown and release of content. We think this may have been one of the Italian secrets we didn't find much out about, I'm afraid. That's 16 balls Andre's cupped in, but it's worth remembering that he has drawn the same peg that his teammate Falsini drew the previous day, and that's got to be a massive advantage for the Italian. Indeed, for any competitor. I'm sure he won't waste it. Andrea now prepares to cup in short, and it looks like that ball is a bit too big for the pot. It certainly is heavy enough. Looks like he's adjusting the second ball to fit a little bit easier. It then seems he's putting in a few dead maggots over the top, pretty much the same as England's approach. And that's the end of his feeding. There's just time to tidy up, clean the shades and have a wipe down, because it really is hot in Italy and the competitors are feeling it, even though they're all stuck underneath umbrellas. We now move across to the start of the session on lower B sector with Germany's young wannabe Jan Foltz, hoping to put yesterday's disaster behind, but he's drawn next to Scotland's Ewan Weed and Jacopo Falsini, and there's also the Dutchman Bert Aufderhaar close by. Talk about a baptism of fire. This will prove interesting. There's a good crowd gathered behind the Italian superstar Falsini, but as the contest continues there seems to be a lack of larger fish present, but Jacopo is catching what's in front of him on a regular basis. As too is Bert next door. The young German next to the Italian is not having the best of starts, as Jacopo continues to take fish after fish after fish. Jacopo now has a visitor to contend with, his manager Rudy. Jacopo continues catching, although the skimmers are quite small. Next door, Bert is matching Jacopo, and if anything, pulling slightly ahead. Maybe that's why Rudy's paid Jacopo a quick visit. The Dutchman feeds again short, while Jacopo nets a better fish. This will be a very interesting finale, if it stays the same. It seemed as if Italy was getting the better of the Dutch, but looks can be deceptive, and although Falsini's fish count was higher, Bert's fish were a better size. Who would prevail? I wonder. Also in this section was England's Steve Gardner, who took the place of Sean Aspey after day one. and it looks as though Steve's into a better fish. Steve's taking his time, which is an indication of the quality on the end of his line. Many no doubt question Steve's exclusion on the first day, but Steve's a team player and he understands that management has difficult decisions to make for the greater good of the team. His interview earlier with Jason explained much about Steve's character. As Steve inches the fish closer, he keeps the tip down, much the same as we've seen with other English anglers, until he feels he can safely break down, ready for netting. As smooth as possible, Steve slips the net under a fine bream of around a kilo plus. Let's hope he keeps up the momentum. Moving quickly over to upper B sector, we see that the Croatian Nenad Vibo on end peg 36 has a carp on, and by the look of how much the pole is wafting skywards, it's a good fish. A brief splash as the unseen fish starts to head towards the near side bank. But Nenad applies more pressure by adding another section and a half on. The Croatian has the fish almost stationary in front of him, and he prepares his landing net. I hope that's big enough, because it doesn't look like it is. The fish wallows onto the surface and Nenad eases the lump towards the waiting net. Got him, and yes, it does fit, just. And it's our first carp caught on camera. We knew we could do it. However, this is where Adrian van der Heever lost his massive fish on Saturday. But Nenad seems to have tamed the fish into submission, and he gradually heaves the fish safely to shore. Yeah. It looks to be around 4 kilos. Judging by the amount of pole he's had up in the air, I suspect he's caught that on his skimmery. Once more, South Africa's Adrian van der Heever is into a big fish, and his manager, Choose, is in the front stalls getting a really good eyeful. These South Africans really do have a big fish reputation, fully deserved in my book, but will Adrian's get this one out? As Adrian starts to pull the puller bung, the fish bumps off. Oh well, such is the life of a big game hunter. We're back on upper A section again for the second hour, and reports say that Andrea Finney is doing quite well, as also is the Finn Harry Lindberg on A19 and Stu Conroy. Here's Andrea
with a better quality fish on. There we go, it's safely netted. Yeah, but he looks as though he's having a bit of trouble getting the hook out. There, that's done it. 4 pegs away is Holland's Jan van Schendel, keeping an eye on his boy Jurgen Spearings. Note that Jan is sitting back from Jurgen so he can keep an eye on Andrea. Jurgens is doing well on the fish count, but the smaller fish, something which will no doubt trouble Jan. Stu Conroy's keeping pace with the Italian and the Finn, with some bonus fish already in the net. Unfortunately not these catfish, which are not allowed in the net. Big old gobs they've got, but back it goes. Here's the ever-present Rita Verza Grabowska from Latvia, the only woman to take on the men. This is probably not one of her best years, maybe due to her attentive coach. Here's Jason with Jan.
Now joined by Jan van Schendel. It's halfway through the second session. Jan, how are the team doing?
Not as good as yesterday, that's for sure, but that's nearly impossible as well. I mean, yesterday was an outstanding day. I'm afraid that Italy's going to be too tough to beat. We're not doing badly though, improving a bit I think as well. We had some good draws actually, so from the draw we should win a medal, but whether it happens or not, it'll be tight. I have not got all the information on all the other countries at the moment, and it changes around all the time anyway. In this section, for instance, we've caught by far the most amount, but they're all smaller fish. And in this section it'll be a 5 or a 6 at the moment, and it'll be tough to change that still. We have a couple of them results, so we'll be at the moment on between 15 and 20 points, but that's a rough estimation. It's all down to the last 2 hours. We've got one other tactics that we've not used yet for the last 2 hours, and if that would come, then probably we can change things around a little bit, but it's not the right day for it. We try to catch a few fish close in as well, and we build it up and then try in the later half of the match. Yesterday that worked brilliant for the English, and we didn't do so well on it. We count more on it now, but it's not the right day because the fishing seems to be slightly worse, and apart from Italy, nobody seems to be doing fantastic. We will see.
As I say, 15-20 points in the World Championship is normally good position.
Normally good enough to win, but yeah. I knew it wouldn't be like that here because there's 5 nations dominating the competition. If you look at the result from yesterday, I mean, 5th nation has got 20 points. That's amazing. So that sums up what I say. It's very good fishing, a specific style of fishing, and these nations are the best at that by the looks of it. Italy is fantastic, and I'm proud actually that we're only 2 points behind, so that we must have done all right yesterday. Well, this competition's been in my head for a long time, and let's see how it finishes.
Okay, so last year podium place, this year possible podium place. All the best, Jan, and hopefully we can speak to you afterwards, and congratulations.
No problem, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jan.
We're now on lower B sector, and news that Falsini is still catching well. But his Dutch neighbour is picking up a slightly better stamp of skimmer. It looks like the Scots lad, Ewan Weed, is leading the sector, and the Serbian, my very good friend, Predrag Vasiligaj, sorry Predrag, I can never pronounce your last name, on pegs 13 and 14. What we have is a fish quantity versus a fish quality battle here between Italy and Holland. probably with the Dutch a whisker in front. Both need to do well to maintain and improve their team's positions, as a 2-point gap between them from the first day is not very secure. You can see the quality of Bert's fish quite easily. Oh dear, the future's bright, the future's orange, maybe. As Dave Ewing mentioned on day one, the Russians are no mug at catching skimmers. Here on B3, Yuri Sipsov is showing everyone around him how to pick out the quality fish as he works his way into the top part of the section. Coming into the final hour, England's Steve Gardner has managed to keep in touch with the section's leading players, as one would expect. Before we move into the day 2 weigh-in, it's worth mentioning one particular operation which can have a bearing on the size of fish you catch. But there's a downside. I'm referring to the number of bloodworm you place on the hook. Using 3, 4 or even 5 can take up to half a minute to place safely on the hook. The advantage, of course, is that this action can increase the size of the fish that come to the net. Here we see Italy's Gianluigi Sorti proving the point, with an above average skimmer which helped him to a sector second. The crowd certainly appreciated it, but then they would, they're Italian. As is customary at the end of many matches, especially in England, it starts to tip down, just as Will Raison prepares to weigh in, but in this case it's a welcome relief from the heavy and humid heat. Looks like Will has got a couple of decent fish in that net. As everyone tries to shelter from the rain, the scales gradually settle at 7,340 kilos. Not bad, Will. All eyes now focus on Gianluigi on peg 2, and it looks like a very good haul for him. There's quite a lot of quality fish in there, but will it be good enough to take the sector with Belgium's Andy Bertin, the only apparent challenger on peg 4? That's a decent net of fish. Gianluigi with a couple of quality bream. Here's the ultimate sector winner, Andy Bertin, who takes the section by just 160 grams, or one skimmer. That's close at this level of weight. One of Germany's young hopefuls, Chris Dobermeier, in his first championship. He replaced Thomas Del Fabro from yesterday and had an excellent introduction into World Champ duty. Chris is obviously taking his time with this fish.
Bravo, bravo.
Praise from an Italian onlooker is praise indeed. The scales arrive and Chris can see the fruits of his labours. An excellent 5.0070 kilos. Good enough for 3 points in his sector, and also his country's top point scorer on the day. Well done. Hungary's Peter Milkovics was a day one section winner, and today he was on course for another one, and perhaps a golden opportunity awaits for him. Mind you, I wouldn't want to be dangling that cigarette around my line as I look for my disgorger. Peter empties the haul into the weigh net to the accompanying chorus of camera clicks. Nine and a quarter kilos, over 3 kilos clear of his nearest rival, Latvia's Ivan Danilovs. Never mind the fish. How far do those tattoos go? Here was an interesting situation in Upper E. We find the Ukraine's Sergei Veremychuk needing the assistance of his steward to retrieve what looks to be 7 metres of floating pole. And he's got a fish on. Not sure whether that can be interpreted as legal or not. Once the waters stop flowing, Sergei can start to bring the fish in for netting. He was to eventually weigh in 13.64 kilos and a section win. Just over a kilo in front of the Czech Josef Konopasak. I wonder what that fish weighed. Just kidding. Here's another good friend of mine from Serbia, Goran Radovic, aka Mr. Barbel, and soon to be renamed. And it looks like he's caught as a lump for the camera. Nice one. Easy does it though, Goran, who seems to be doing the New Zealand haka. He's obviously highly delighted. Having finally got rid of his coach, we can see just how big that carp is next to his rather large captor, who accepts the crowd's appreciative applause. That fish effectively sent the now renamed Mr. Carp from 0 to hero in his section, with 4 valuable points for his country. Here's Holland's pin-up angler, Dieter Friederichs, who's managed to entice the new ladies world champion to his side for a final catch shot.
Dave was a bit late for the show down on E2. Next year he'll have new trainers to go along with his new microphone.
Oh, Guido. You give it a big kiss now, Guido. Good boy. Do not drop it. Do not drop it. Do not.
But he captures the 2 main stars of the after-show party.
Klaus Müller on A18 failed to match his superb day one performance, but still broke the double figure mark with 12.290 kilos in a section containing 9 of them. That's 9 double figure weights. His day one score was remarkable in as much as he recorded the same number of fish as section winner Gabba, but was nearly 6 kilos lighter than him. But Klaus's 12.290 kilos was only good enough for an 8th place. Bit of bad luck there, Klaus. Klaus's next door neighbour, Luxembourg's Patrick Lechetti, topped the section with nearly the best weight of the day, 17.45 kilos, just 90 grams off Belgium's Andy Burton in C sector. Over to D section, where 3 of the top nations had been battling it out all day. Holland's Joe Adriolo came up against 2 of the world's finest names, Ferruccio Gabba and Zillard Magyar. Joe nevertheless managed this impressive 10.77 kilo hole from D2. Zillard Magyar, perhaps Hungary's most senior and respected angler, turned in another stellar performance, but was narrowly beaten yet again for the section. This 12 kilos 280 haul from D18 gave another valuable 2 points to his team. But the star performer in the section was Italy's Ferruccio Gabba, who weighed in 13.45 kilos, according to Welsh manager Eric Humphreys, of course. Well, Eric did manage to bring the rain with him from Wales. That performance would earn Ferruccio a place on the podium. Back in lower B section, and Steve Gardner's managed to snare a couple of good bream from his inside line late in the day. It was enough to worry the Italian and Dutch bank runners. Steve showed his class by finishing with over 6 kilos more than his next door neighbours, with 8.72 kilos, and they finished at the bottom of the section. One of Holland's heroes from day one, Bert Auftehaar, couldn't match that score, but he did manage to take a point off the Italian Jacopo Falsini. It's not been the best of tournaments for Jacopo, but the Italian always does his best. Unfortunately, today was not enough, and he ends up behind the English and Dutch.
A quick look at the 3 other subsection winners. Second section win this weekend for Scotland, and this time Ewan Weed escaped our cameras. Believe me, this was not intentional. Russia and Serbia also managed top points in this rather difficult section. In Upper B, a section win for Nagy from Hungary, who did extremely well on day 2. Croatia and Belgium taking vital points for their country with only 60 grams dividing them. And 5 times world champion Alan Scotton with second place in Upper D section with 9 kilos 360. Exactly half a kilo behind section winner Mirko Dragicevic from Serbia on NPEG D36.
It's always a reporter's nightmare trying to find out quickly who's taken the main positions. So if you can be in the right place at the right time, you may hear the news as the anglers get it. Therefore, it's usually a good idea to stick around the management, and you'll probably hit the jackpot.
Dimmi il punto. Lui. Ieri. L'Ungheria ieri. 21 aprile. 9.250. Vinto il mondiale. Fa 12 kg e 70. E te fai 22 esatto. Dai, buttati! Perso! Vai in acqua! Italia! Italia! Italia!
Dammi Angelo. Dai, va per tuffo, dai, tuffo, va a prendere il pesto. Il pesto è andato in acqua.
Grandi figli, grandi. Sono in piena bagarre, Maurizio, non posso rispondere.
There's lots of hugs, Italian-style kisses. Thank God it wasn't the French who won. And tears. That was a brilliant piece of detective work. Well done, Jason.
Io boia! Calmi!
Even Stu Conway comes over and congratulates Andrea on a fine match.
Come minimo lo fanno sindaco da
bel riconoscimento per Ferruccio Gabba, da anni uno dei migliori pescatori internazionali.
Bravo!
Al secondo posto per la Peter Mikovic, 2 primi anche per lui, 31.070 punti, 106 catture nei 2 giorni di gara. Per la squadra italiana, Andrea Fini!
Grande Fini! Grande Andrea!
Siamo il presidente Matteoli a consegnare il premio ad Andrea Fini, che vince con 2 primi anche lui, con 32 kg e 620 grammi, 202 pesci per Andrea Fini. Maggior peso e maggior...
Finney finished the day with 2 section wins and a total of 32,620 grams. Silver medalist Peter Milkovic, 2 section wins but 1.55 kilos less than Finney. And bronze medalist Ferruccio Gabba, again 2 section wins but 4.42 kilos off the top.
Il Belgio ha concluso con 33 penalità, 33 penalties for Belgium, 106 kg e 195 grammi, con 16 e 17 penalità, quindi una gara molto regolare per la compagine belga, che sta tornando veramente forte come la ricordavamo qualche anno fa. Io chiamo il vicepresidente della FIPSAS Gian Rodolfo Ferrari a consegnare il trofeo ai secondi classificati. Ungheria 27 penalità, 27 penalties, 109.740 punti, 15 penalità al sabato, 12 alla domenica, 732 pesci complessivamente, ed è con vivo piacere e soddisfazione che ho l'onore di chiamare sul gradino più alto del podio la squadra Italia! Rodolfo Frigeri, il capitano, the captain, Rudy Frigeri. Marco Manni, Ferruccio Gabba, Jacopo Falsini, Stefano Defendi, Gianluigi Sorti e Umberto Ballabeni. Campioni del mondo nell'anno 2011, il miglior modo per festeggiare i 150 anni dell'Unità d'Italia. Prego per cortesia di tradurre questo, perché è un concetto importante. Viva soddisfazione i suoi atleti. Grazie.
So, new world champions, and I think you'll agree, a very good world championships indeed. Yet to come is a Ferruccio Gabba and world champion Andrea Fini interview. And as bonus, Steve Gardner's views in hindsight 1 week after the event. We hope that you have enjoyed what we have put together for you. I think we've improved on last year's DVD from Merida, but there still is room for improvement, eventually for next year's World Championships from the Czech Republic. Thanks for viewing, now get out there and do some fishing.
L'Italia conquista così il suo 11° titolo nella storia dei campionati del mondo. Dalla segretaria generale Barbara Durante. Grazie Barbara.
Good evening. We're joined by the new world champion, gold medalist Andrea Fini of Italy and bronze medalist of Italy, Ferruccio Gabba. What I'd like to do first is ask Andrea what this particularly means to him. Ferruccio, if you can translate.
Dice cosa significa per te aver vinto un mondiale?
Niente, diciamo che ancora non me lo sento addosso.
At the moment he doesn't understand what he happened for him.
Okay, I think you actually won a big trophy.
Dice che hai vinto un grande trofeo.
Sì, me l'hanno detto, è penso sia il trofeo più bello della mia vita da pescatore.
And he's also the best angler in the world.
Yes, dice che sei anche il miglior pescatore del mondo.
Sì, hai ragione, per ora, fino al 2012 sì.
In 2012, yes.
Yes, 2012. I'd like to ask Ferruccio now just exactly what was the Italian plan which saw them take, I believe, 20 points, was it 20, 21 points?
I think.
21 points.
Yes.
Would you like to give us some idea of how you approached the venue and took that world title?
Yes. Our plan was to feed with very soft ground bait, very dry ground baits, because the ground baits, the fish in this venue are not on the bottom. Eat not on the bottom, but just up. Yes. But we use very hard limb with joker, floating joker. Because the fish in this canal eat not on the bottom, but eat the food that came up from the bottom and came up from the bottom to the hub.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And your rigs, the sort of rigs you used?
Yes. The rigs was very light, 0.50, 0.30, and with a bulk. Far from the hook, maybe 80-90 centimeter, and only two shot, very small.
Too small, like a number 11?
12 and 11. 12 and 11. Yes, 12 and 11, yes.
And a small hook?
18.
An 18?
Yes.
And what did you use on the hook?
Bloodworm.
Just bloodworm?
3 or 4 bloodworm.
3 or 4 bloodworm bunches?
Yeah.
And the idea was to take bream and skimmers and ignore the carp?
No. Our idea was catch bream with a good size, because if you want to win in this venue, you must catch bream from 200 to 500 grams.
Right.
And they hit in this system I explained you before.
Oh, good, okay. Well, when was the last time, I should have looked this up actually, but I think the last time Italy won the World Championship was a few years ago.
Yes, was in maybe 2007, I think, in Hungary. Yes,
in
Hungary,
right.
yes.
On Valence?
In Valence,
in
Valence, yes.
And this time you've won it at home in front of all your own people.
Yeah.
And you've produced a world champion and a bronze medalist.
Yeah. For us, it's a very good result, because all the anglers in Italy expected to the victory of the team Italy, and if we didn't win this championship,
a lot of pressure.
Yes,
a
lot of pressure. Yes, and will be a problem for us if we didn't win.
Yeah, but now you're all heroes.
Especially
Andrea.
Big
hero.
Gli ho detto che per noi era importantissimo vincere, perché tutti aspettavano questa vittoria, e ha detto che adesso abbiamo anche un nuovo eroe che è Andrea.
Well, once again I would like to congratulate these two anglers on a fantastic performance, and their whole team Italy on a world championship. Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ferruccio, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Okay, thank you all. I'm joined by Steve Gardner to recap and reflect on England's disappointment in this year's World Championships in Italy. Steve, it's now been over a week since Ostellato. It's time for you to look back and, with hindsight, reflect as to whether things could have been different for yourself and perhaps the team.
Yeah, with hindsight, Dave, it's always easy, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, even with hindsight, I don't think it would be easy for us to go back even tomorrow and say that we would do particularly better than what we already did. I would have, after the first week of 4 days practicing, which we do every year prior to the official practice sessions, we caught a lot of fish. We were really confident. We felt that the way we were fishing was a method that would work well, providing the match length was the same, because the bit we practiced on was probably 2 or 3 kilometres from the official venue. Anyway, we cut a long story short, we developed a plan to how we felt we were going to feed it, and we then took it down to the match length, and on day one we actually drew an M box, and that was probably the start of us going away, really, because we caught too many fish. It may sound crazy, but we caught quite a lot of fish. And all of us had a good day, really, and we just felt, yep, okay, what we learned the previous week is now paying off, and that was day one. So we thought, right, okay, we don't need to tweak too much, maybe a little bit here and there, but nothing major. Day two we drew another good box. Didn't know it at the time because it was only the second day's practice, and we caught a lot of fish again. So no need to panic, everything seems all right. The Italians had one day when they'd not done so good, and the next day they'd done well. So we thought, okay, we're doing okay. Really, in hindsight, as you said earlier, day three we should have the alarm bell should have started to ring then, really, because things started to go a little bit wrong. Not for all of us, but for 2 or 3 of us. But what was most noticeable, and the thing we should have took notice of, and this has nothing to do with any of the management or any of the anglers, was the fact that the teams either side of us, especially the anglers nearest to us, were beating us, and we should have really picked up on it on the first time it happened, but we didn't really, and then we dismissed that as just a bad box. So now we're 3 days in, we've lost. We had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We've gone to another box. We're still not convinced that what we've been doing is wrong, and we didn't catch a lot of fish in long, which is
that's at 13 metres.
Yeah, that 13 metre line, which is where we went wrong on the actual 2 days of the competition. But we didn't catch a lot long. But what happened? We caught a lot of fish short, and they were big fish. And then if you looked at our weights, they were good again. So now you're into 4 days practicing. But what I said before, on the Wednesday we got beat by the guys either side in the other teams, and it happened again. Now, yeah, I know, and one lot was the South Africans, and as you know by the result, they came 7th, so they were obviously doing something right, and something that we were doing wrong. Well, on the Friday, which was the last practice day, we went to what was a particularly difficult bit, and we expected that to be hard. The way it panned out with the good draws, the good boxes, should I say, early in the week, gave us the confidence we were doing it right, and then the not so good boxes towards the end of the week, we probably didn't really take enough notice of our results. Saying that, it was too late for us to formulate any other plan than the one we were going down. So going into the competition, I can say, that it wasn't only myself, but the whole team was a little bit unsure, is probably the best word to use, that our tactics were going to be right. We had a plan which we felt was reasonable, and we had a backup line which a lot of the other teams ignored, which was at 6 metres fishing with maggots, which was going to be for bigger fish. And the way it worked out on the day, to be honest, we struggled fishing long, and as you know, I didn't fish on day one, so I made good use of my time, and I sat behind one of the Italians and watched him very, very carefully.
Yeah, I think we're going to look.
So
at this
I know I have a good idea of where our mistakes were made, and as you say, in hindsight, it's
it's easy, isn't it?
It's
very easy to look back. Well, I mean, you've just seen the interview that I made with Ferruccio Gabba, where he describes quite clearly what he said the Italians did. But even so, there's been quite a bit of speculation surrounding the use of particular baits and ground baits by them, and maybe others, and also the way they fed their respective pegs. What's your understanding of this, and what have you discovered from other sources since your return to the UK?
I've discovered a few things. I know, for one, that the Italians and the Hungarians didn't fish the same. and they both had excellent results. And to be honest, there wasn't a lot to choose between them. And if you consider that the Hungarians have hardly fished the venue and the Italians have fished it a lot, I think the Hungarian result was unbelievable.
Outstanding.
And this competition was won and lost with the initial feed. That is 100% sure. How they approached it at the very beginning in that 10-minute pre-weighing was what decided how well your peg was going to perform. Whereas we probably erred on the safer bet and worked on the theory of working our way into our pegs, which is often what we do by topping up regularly and looking for a response from that. And they didn't do that. They actually laid the table out and basically it was prepared to fish over for perhaps 2.5 hours without even feeding again, because they had enough there, and a lot of it was in lean, which had different periods of breaking up. So so they had some initial feed there when it first went in, and then as this lean broke down gradually, the peg was being topped up without actually having to start using the cup again. So yeah, what I saw from the Italians, it was very interesting, to be honest. The way they took full advantage of the whole 10 minutes. They could only just get all their feed in that time, and cupping in for 10 minutes after throwing in perhaps 20 balls takes some doing.
It does.
So
it wasn't really about rigs or what bait you put on there.
No.
It was all to do with feed.
I listened to the interview with Ferruccio, and he did tell you some of what they did, but he didn't tell you all of what they did. He never mentioned lean in that interview, and a lot of the where they threw their ground bait is not where they fished.
Yeah.
They fished past the ground bait,
right,
and they fished over lean, and yes, they did use light rigs, which is in complete contrast to what the Hungarians did. Because although the Hungarians started with light rigs and they caught small fish, same as the Italians to start with, and I say small, fish from probably 25 to 100 grams with an odd sort of 200, 300 gram one in amongst them. Their pegs got stronger, and that is the key to it all. What they put in at the start, they knew this was going to happen. They knew they didn't have to start feeding again when it started to the small fish started to drop off. That they delayed any topping up because they knew there was a lot of food already down there, breaking up slowly. And when these bigger fish arrived, they settled. And then once they'd settled and started to catch, they could then top up later in the match. But the Hungarians caught a lot of quality fish late, and this is where it sort of contradicts what Ferruccio said. They fish with gram rigs, and they're fishing 14, 15 inches over depth, 30 centimetres, and so those fish were bang on the bottom, and they were sitting there waiting. And they've caught like the 300, 500 and even bigger fish than that by doing so.
Well, I mean, it's quite noticeable that the recognised top 5 teams in the world actually occupied the top 5 places.
Oh, Dave, it was one of the best venues we've ever fished. No two ways about that. I know we've not done particularly good. We set ourselves a high standard, and we don't like not getting on the podium. I mean, we don't like not winning. We're a team of winners, and we want to come back with gold.
Well, it's 16 years since you did come back, since you last came back to the UK without any medals of any description.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a blow to us, and especially on a venue which I consider probably one, if not the fairest venue I've ever fished in the World Championship. There was fish for everyone to go for, and as you say, the top 5 teams. I mean, we've done it totally wrong, and we still got less points than we got last year in Merida, where we won. So, so that sort of about sums it up, really. I think.